Okay, so plurality method is what we're talking about today. I just did this light note. This is what you guys can use when you take your test on it. This is what you can do, basics of the plurality method and what you actually need to learn and get from this section. So on page 10 at the very top, it tells us what the plurality method is. I need you guys to write in your own words what it is on your paper. I'm going to read what the book says. It's the simplest, most common used method for determining the outcome of an election. With the plurality method, all that matters is how many first place votes each candidate gets. So what is the plurality method? The only thing that matters in a plurality method is how many first place votes there are, okay? And it's a winner-only election. So those preference ballots that we did last time, those complicated ballots, do they matter for if we're doing a plurality method? No, because second place, it doesn't matter, does it? All we need to do is count out how many first place winners there are. Okay, I want you guys to look at example 1.7. It's actually a lot clearer in the book than it is on the page. Okay, last time we talked about the math club election. Remember that example we did? And it has the chart there again. If we were using the plurality method, Isaac, help me with this one. Who is going to win? Who had the most first place votes? Is it A, B, C, or D?
A, B, C.
Which one here had the most first place votes? It's A. A had 14. Okay? And so A would win. It wouldn't matter how many votes B, C, or D had. With the plurality method, it is just a simple you win or you don't. Okay, in the United States, almost all of the elections are done using a plurality vote. Okay? It's whoever has the most votes is going to win. Right? Is that how things are done here at the school? Our votes, Alyssa? Yeah? Okay? Yeah, that's the simplest type of voting that there is, and that's what most people use. Is there any comments on that? Nope. Okay, so if we look at 2010 Maine governor's election, this is example 1.8. Actually, stop. The winner would be A, for example 1.7 as we go through the paper. The winner would be A. The vice president, who got the second most votes? Miguel, who got the second most votes? B, C, or D? B only got 4. You have to look at up here, the number of votes. It would be C, okay? So vice president would go to C. Okay, what about secretary? Secretary always gets a third amount of votes. Who had the third most votes? B. D did. Good. And treasurer would be the only one left, and it would be B. Okay? So that's how our voting would go. Daniel, I'm going to move this all the way back to you because they can't see anything on the board. Okay. Most elections for political office are decided by plurality. I have that here. Example 1.8, look at the table and what is your conclusion? It's got the table here, and it says who won each of the candidates and how many votes that they got. If we were going by the plurality method, Daniel, who is going to win that one? Look at example 1.8 at the bottom of page 10.
Okay.
Who had the most votes?
It looked like Polly Page.
Polly Page, okay, and they had 38% of the votes, right? Okay, but how many votes did the second candidate have? What percent, Marion?
36.5%.
36.5%. There's only a 10,000 vote discrepancy there, okay? And you can see that neither one of them had majority. So this is when voting gets all messed up. Because 10,000 votes in Maryland, or Maine, sorry, Maryland would be different. 10,000 votes in Maine really isn't that many votes. You guys have heard about the ballots being thrown away, right? They found all those ballots in the trash from the military, sending them in. Okay, that's a discrepancy. It messes it up. And just that number could have changed the Maine governor's election. And they can have, also if you look at the bottom one there, the independent, he only had 1% of the votes. And you can have people that want to vote for him, they really like that candidate, but they're not gonna vote for him. Jackson, can you think of any reason why they would be their choice, but they wouldn't vote for him? No? Okay. Let's say last year, Marion was running with the person who won, okay, and the other people for student body election. And her friends all wanted her to win. Okay, but not very many people know Marion, because she's kind of quiet. Is that true?
No.
Okay, you're not quiet.
You're good.
We'll say that. This would happen for my daughter Alyssa. She's super quiet. Okay, nobody knows her, we're gonna say. So, will her friends vote for her, or will they vote for this other person just because they want him to beat out the one who's probably gonna win? As in, who's running for president this year?
Like
Joe Biden,
President-
Trump.
Trump, okay. He is the Republican candidate. Who else is running?
Joe Biden.
Okay. Biden, he's a Democratic. Who else is running?
Kanye West.
What?
Kanye West.
West? Okay. Who else is running?
That's all I know.
That's it. And what party is, what party are they with?
Independent.
Independent? Okay, that's who's running. Now, what about these people that like to vote independent, but they really do not want Trump to win? Is the independent going to win?
No.
What are the chances of an independent going to win ever?
Very low.
Very, very low. Well, they don't want Trump to win. So who do you think that they'll really vote with?
Biden.
They're going to vote for Biden, even though they're in an independent party. They're going to vote for Biden just because they don't want Trump to win. So what does that do? That causes a discrepancy in the election. Okay? Does that make sense? People aren't going to vote for Marion because she's so quiet. She's so quiet. Because they don't know her. They're going to vote for the one that against the person they don't want to win. You know what I'm saying? They're going to vote for one of the two main contenders against whoever they don't want to win. Does that make
Yeah.
sense for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not saying anything about any of the political candidates, I just wanted to use that as an example. And so in the book, on top of page 11, we have a couple of big problems. And the first problem, it's on your notes, you have a number 1 there. The first problem with the plurality method is when there are more than 2 candidates, you can end up with a majority winner, with a winner that doesn't have the majority. And you really need majority. Majority means more than 50%. Okay, if you look at that election for the Maine governor, he only had 38%. He did not have a majority. Okay, the second problem is the closeness of the elections. You look at Maine's governor, he only won by like 1.7%. Okay, that's less than 10,000 votes, so it could have been manipulated. There's different ways to manipulate. If any of you watched the news last night, which when I was your age, I didn't watch the news, so I doubt that you did. But last night on the news, they were talking about little manipulations for voting. And one of them is having people stand outside of the voting things with their picketing signs, you know, telling things about certain voters. Jose, red seat over there. So they have a rule. You cannot wear anything political into the voting places, okay? Anywhere that you can vote, you can't wear anything political. You can't wear a donkey on your hat. You can't wear an elephant on your shirt. You can't wear anything that says Biden or Trump, okay? It is illegal to do that. And if you wear that kind of thing, you get kicked out. What's the problem with kicking people out, though? Daniel, what's the problem with kicking them out?
Then they can't vote.
They can't vote, and what are you doing?
Stopping them from voting, therefore.
You're taking away their right to vote, right?
Yeah.
So they're having issues with that. Okay? But that all has to do with votes being manipulated. Can you guys think of any other ways that votes could be manipulated? Dylan, do you have any clue that how votes could be manipulated?
If we're doing like vote by mail, like what if all the votes don't get in?
What if they don't get in? Right. So my votes, which is for me and my husband and my 18-year-old daughter, we're going to take them to the library and deposit them. Why are we taking them to the library and putting them in the voting box there? Do they go through the mail? No. Is that a secure drop box? Yes, because it goes underground, pretty much. The library does, but the library doesn't even have the keys to open it, okay? What if somebody put a bomb in the drop box and it went off and destroyed all the ballots? Okay, that could happen, but it's not going to. You guys are gonna be good and not do that kind of thing, right, Miguel?
No firecrackers in the drop box.
Okay, you can't actually get that kind of thing in there. It's like super thin that you can barely get a piece of paper through it. Okay, but there is problems. And what we just talked about with the Trump and Biden and West, not voting for West because you really wanted him to win, but you didn't want another candidate to win. So that is that's what we would also call the votes getting manipulated. So first problem is not majority. Second problem is manipulation. The third problem that we have is, last but not least, the voters with plurality method in this candidate may be preferred. Let's see. With the plurality method is that a candidate may be preferred by the voters over all the candidates and not win.